Now, it's unit number 10, period 2. So get your books open. And if you don't have the book, you can just look at the screen. Look at the graph, then answer the questions. Now, in the graph, there are two lines, vertical, this one, الخط العمودي, and horizontal, this one. In the horizontal line, what do you see? Right here.
Years.
Years. And the vertical one?
Age.
Percentage. Percentages. Now, what does the graph talk about? Look at it here.
Non-voters in election by age group.
Okay. الذين لم يصوتوا حسب المجموعة العمرية. Now, we have different age groups. The blue line refers to the people aged 18-24. The green one, 25 to 34. The red one, it's 35 to 44. And the last one here, the dark blue, is 45 and over. أكثر من 45 سنة. So, how many different lines can you see here?
4.
What does the blue one stand for?
4 different lines.
4.
Okay, so the blue one, what does it symbolize or stand for?
19 to 24.
18 to 24. What about the red one?
35 to 44.
Yes, thank you, Jude and George. Yes. Now, the green one, which age?
25 to 34.
To 34. That's great. Now, if you look at the lines, are they going up or down?
Go up.
They are going up. So is the percentage decreasing or increasing?
Increasing.
It's increasing. What's increasing here? What is increasing? Okay, Yaqub, please. Yes. Non-voters. So the number of non-voters has been increasing over the years. 1974, 2014. People don't want to go to elections. They don't want to vote. We have a question. They don't want. Yes, they don't want to vote. ما بدهم يصوتوا. Yes. Now, in 1984, for example, there were two elections. So here, there were two elections in 1984. Yes.
Two elections. وين الكلام؟ أعطيني إياه، أعطيتك كلام وين؟ شو كان في؟ كان two elections.
Two elections. Now, since the 18-24 age group has been the least likely to vote, which age group? Which year? The 18-24. Since which year?
1978.
1978. Thank you. Look at the year here.
1978.
Yes, look at it here. And look at the blue line.
Who are most likely to vote are in the أنو أكتر إشي بصوتوا.
Yes.
أستاذ في حد فتح المايك.
It's
مروان فتح مايك.
Yes, Maron. Now, Sekro Maron. Now, if you look at this here, number 2, the blue line, in the year 1978, it was the highest. Then it has been falling down. The number of people who don't vote, it is increasing. Now, number 3, people who are most likely to vote are in the, which are the most likely to vote? 45 and over. Thank you very much. So it gives me just a simple idea that people don't like elections mostly in many countries around the world. People don't want to vote. Simply they are not interested. They show that they are not interested. If they are interested, لو كانوا مهتمين, they would wait for elections and they would go to do their voting. On the next slide, there is a reading text. Now, this is the second, and it's the important part of unit number 10. Read the article, then complete the task on page 105. The democracy report. Now, many experts believe we are facing a crisis of democracy. For many years, not just in the UK, but in all the world's most established democracies, the number of people who vote in elections has been falling. نفس اللي في الرسم البياني. This is especially true among young people. The message from opinion polls is clear. There is a common feeling that young people find traditional politics boring. So why do they not vote?
Because it's boring.
They think it's boring, and that whatever party, yes, whatever party, أي حزب اكتبوا عليها, party, حزب, they are from, politicians have nothing to offer them. Yani, if I go and vote, the politician, the minister or the president will do nothing for me. So I'm not interested. Now, paragraph number 2. Now, a new report has recommended that voting should be made compulsory. إنه لازم يجبروا الناس كلها تصوت. And that the voting age should be lowered to 16. It's a problem that so many young people don't vote. They think that it's a problem in each country that people don't go for elections. بيعتقدوا إنه مشكلة إنه الناس ما تصوت. Says Professor Paul Meaders, one of the report's authors, أحد المؤلفين للتقرير, because we should make it compulsory. إجباري لازم يصير. Because politicians can then afford to ignore them. يعني إذا أنت ما بتصوت, politicians الساسة, رجال السياسة, بيدفعوا مصاري مشان ما يخدموك, بيتجاهلوك, ما بيلبوا حاجاتك. This increases their feeling of not being listened to. And so it goes on. بيشوفوا حالهم ما حدا سامع لهم, ما حدا مختارهم, ما بيخدموا حدا. But if young people want their voices to be heard, they have to vote. حسب رأيه, إذا الناس بدها صوتها ينسمع لازم تصوت. One important thing that we say in the report, though, is that there should be a none of the above option for those who don't support any available candidates. Now, لازم يكون في خيار بدل ما نختار أحمد وجون وجوزيف وبيتر وعلي ويوسف, يكون في خيار ولا واحد منهم أحط عليه أنا اختيار إذا بديش أصوت لحدا, مش عاجبني حدا, ما بدي أدعمه, I don't want to support them. Candidates مرشحين. Now, that way politicians will at least be made aware. هيك بيعرفوا رجال السياسة أو يدركوا aware how many people are not satisfied with. قديش في ناس مش راضي, not satisfied, غير راضي with what they are offered, باللي بيقدموه رجال السياسة. مش كل واحد مرشح بيقدم برنامج سياسي بدي يعمل كذا واقتصادي وتجاري وصناعي. فأنا مش معجبني أنت ولا أنت ولا أنت, بختار none of the above, ولا واحد. Compulsory voting already exists in over 30 countries. الآن التصويت الإجباري موجود في حوالي 30 أو أكثر من 30 دولة في العالم. In Belgium, for example, في بلجيكا, Belgium, people who don't vote have to pay a small fine. اللي بيروحش يصوت بدفع غرامة مخالفة. Fine. And if they go for 4 elections without voting, إذا بصوتش 4 مرات ورا بعض, they lose their right to vote. بيخسر حقه في التصويت. As a result, نتيجة لذلك, لأنه الناس بيخافوا يدفعوا غرامة ويفقدوا حقهم, 90% of Belgians, 90% من البلجيكيين, Belgians اكتب عليها, voted in the last European election. صوتوا في انتخابات الاتحاد الأوروبي آخر مرة. Now, Professor Meadows points out that there are already a lot of things young people have to do by law. بيقول يعني لازم نعمل التصويت إجباري. Paragraph number 1, look at it. Paragraph number 2, line number 1. لازم نعمل التصويت إجباري. ما هي كتير شغلات الناس بيعملوها الآن إجباري. There are many things people have to do by law. وفقا للقانون, اكتب على by law. وفقا للقانون. Like going to school, مثل الذهاب للمدرسة. You know that going to school is compulsory, don't you? تعرفوا إنه الذهاب للمدارس إجباري. Okay. اسمه التعليم الأساسي أو الإلزامي. هسه لو ولد مثلا عمره تحت 17 أو 16 بدوش يروح على المدرسة لأنه أهله بدهم يودوه على الشغل, بيقدر هو حتى أهله بيتخالفوا بيتحاكموا. إجباري لازم يتعلم. Or wearing seat belt, لبس الحزام في السيارة. Just one more, في مثال بيقول نضيف شغلة ثانية اللي هي compulsory election بالسطر هذا. Just one more, he believes, wouldn't make much difference. ما راح يؤدي إلى فرق. Especially خاصة if technology can be used to make voting easier. إذا بنعمل التصويت إلكتروني. Some steps towards this are already being taken. في خطوات كثير صارت نحو التصويت الإلكتروني. مثل انتخابات أمريكا السنة الماضية اللي صارت بشهر 11-12. He says, but why not go further and create a voting application ليش ما نعمل تطبيق على الانترنت للتصويت that can be downloaded، الواحد بنزله onto a phone or a tablet، بنزله على التابلت او على التلفون. The report's authors believe that taking together، لو اخذنا كل هاي الاجراءات، its recommendations offer a solution، هم عم يعملوا حل بتوصيات to the crisis of democracy، لأزمة الديمقراطية، and would completely change the way democracy operates. وهيك بنغير طريقة عمل الديمقراطية. يعني إذا واحد بيقول أنا مش فاضي علي شغل، بقدرش أعطل عن الدوام، بديش أروح أصوت، لما بصوت على الإنترنت خلص على الجوال وين ما كان هو بصوت. وبنقدر نعمل التصويت إجباري، واللي بيصوتش he will have to pay a fine. And if they go for 4 elections without voting, they lose their right to vote. اللي بيصوتش 4 مرات بيفقد حقه بالتصويت. Now, this is the idea in the paragraph. I need someone to start reading again. Would anybody like to?
Yes, I
Can
will.
I?
Okay, Lujain and George. Lujain, paragraph 1, 2. George, 3 and 4. Go, please.
Okay. The Democracy Report. Many experts believe we are facing a crisis of democracy. For many years now, not just in the UK, but in all the world's more established democracies, the number of people who vote in elections has been falling. This is especially true among young people. The message from opinion polls is clear. There is a common feeling that young people find traditional politics boring, and that whatever party they are from, politicians have nothing to offer them. Now, a new report has recommended that voting should be made compulsory and that the voting age should be lowered to 16. It's a problem that so many young people don't vote, says Professor Paul Meadows, one of the report's authors, because politicians can then afford to ignore them. This increases their feeling of not being listened to, and so it goes on. But if young people want their voices to be heard, they have to vote. One important thing that we say in the report, though, is that there should be none of the above option for those who don't support any of the available candidates. That way, politicians will at least be made aware of how many people aren't satisfied with what they're offered.
Continue, George, please.
Compulsory voting already exists in over 30 countries. In Belgium, for example, people who don't vote have to pay a small fine, and if they go for elections without voting, they lose the right to vote. As a result, 90% of Belgians vote in the last European elections. Proof Meadows point out that there are already a lot of things young people have to do by law, like going to school or wearing seatbelts in car. Just one more, he believes wouldn't make much difference, especially if technology can be used to make voting easier. Some steps towards this are already being taken. He says, but why not go further and create voting app that can be downloaded onto a phone or a tablet? The report's authors believe that taken together, its recommendations offer a solution to the crisis of democracy and would complete change the way democracy operates.
Thank you very much. Operates تعمل الطريقة التي تعمل بها. Now, I need Amal start paragraph number 1 and Julia paragraph number 2. Go.
Many experts believe we are facing a crisis of democracy for many years now, not just in the UK, but in all the world's more established democracies.
Yes,
the number of
yes,
people who vote in elections has been falling. This is especially true among young people. The message from opinion polls is clear. There is a common feeling that young people find traditional politics boring, and that whatever party they are from, politicians have nothing to offer them.
Say it, politicians.
Politicians have nothing to offer them.
Thank you. Julia, go. Next paragraph.
Now, a new report has recommended that voting should be made compulsory and that the voting age should be lowered to 16. It's a problem that so many young people don't vote, says Professor Paul Meadows, one of the report's authors, because politicians can then afford to ignore them. This increases their feeling of not being
listened to.
And so it goes on. But if young people want their voices to be heard, they have to vote. One important thing that we say in the report is that there should be a none of the above option of those who don't support any of the available
candidates.
That way, politicians.
Learn the word. Politicians. It's okay. Politicians. Yes.
Will at least be made aware of how many people aren't satisfied with what they're offered.
They are offered. Satisfied, راضي. Satisfied. Now, my first question here, look at it. What is the crisis? According to paragraph number 1, everybody. What's the crisis? Find the answer in paragraph number 1. What's the crisis?
The number of people who vote in elections has been falling.
That's it. Thank you very much. The number of people who vote in elections has been falling. And why is that?
Because that young people find traditional politics boring.
And
that whatever party they're from, politicians have nothing to offer them.
So you have 2 questions in 1 question here, and you have the answers. Once we finish your screenshot, you see the answer, the questions, and the answers. The answers are underlined. Now, paragraph number 2, the question: how can this crisis be solved? Everybody can answer. Loreen, can you? How can this problem be solved? Anybody can help? Yes, Carol.
It's a problem that so many young people don't vote. Say Professor Paul Meadows,
Yes.
one being listened to, and so it does on.
This is not the answer. Look at the question. How can this crisis be solved? It's line number 1.
By making
That voting should be made compulsory.
You have to vote.
Yes. تفضل.
They have to vote.
They have to vote. Voting should be made compulsory. هيا على خط السطر الأول. Look at the screen. Voting should be made compulsory. We can save it by this procedure. بهذا الإجراء. We should make voting compulsory. And the voting age should be lowered to 16. This is the second part. Now, another question for this part here. Why is voting not compulsory now? Why is it not compulsory now? Look, read the paragraph 2 and find out. Why is it not compulsory?
So many people.
Yes.
So many people. So many young people don't vote.
Many young people don't vote because it's not compulsory. Why is it not compulsory then? Yes.
Ustaz, because هاي الكلمة ايش اسمها؟
Politicians can afford to ignore them.
نعم صحيح.
Can afford to ignore them. Now another question here. What happens to these who don't vote in Belgium? اللي بيصوت شو بيعمل؟ Yes. What
Have
happens,
to
George?
pay a small fine.
Shima.
Ustaz,
Yes.
Miss,
Yes, yes, say it.
People who don't
pay is
vote have to pay
small
some
fine.
Thank you. They have to pay a small fine. And another part, people who don't vote have to pay a small fine. And if they give for elections,
to vote.
they lose their right to vote. That's it. So repeat that again, please, Yaqub. What happens to these who don't vote?
People have
Yeah.
a small fine and they lose the right to vote.
Thank you very much. You summarized it in a very fantastic way. Now, the last question, what's the technology, what is technology recommended for? What is technology recommended for?
To create a voting app,
Can be.
and that can be downloaded into a phone or tablet.
Okay, now look at it again and find a very simple answer. It's similar than that.
Can be used to make voting easier.
To make voting easier. So this is the a question and this is the answer. Is that clear?
Yes.
Screenshot
that's
please. صور الشاشة مشان تاخذ الإجابات. Look at them again. And we are going to do some reading again. And Jude can start with paragraph number 3 because we finished 1 and 2. Shima will do number 4. Go.
Compulsory voting already exists in over 13 countries in Belgium. For example, people who don't vote have to pay a small fine. And if they go for 4 elections without voting, they lose the right to vote. As a result, 19 of Belgians voted in the last European election.
It's 90%. 90%. 90%.
90%.
Thank you. Shaima, go.
Proof meadows point out that there are already a lot of things young people have to do by law, like going to school or wearing seatbelts in cars. Just one more, he believes wouldn't make much difference, especially in technology can be used to make voting easier. Some steps towards this are already being taken. He says, but why not go further and create a voting app that can be downloaded onto a phone or tablet?
Mhm.
The reports others believe that taken together, its recommendation offer a solution to the crisis or democracy and what completely change the way democracy operates.
Thank you. Now look at the first word that Shima read, prof. Prof means professor. So what is it, Shima? Professor. Yes?
Okay.
Okay, now if you look at the first paragraph, everybody, this line number 2, what does it refer to? Find out. What does this refer to?
The fall in the number of people who vote.
The number of people who vote is falling. So
Yes.
this refers to the idea here. The number of people who vote is falling. Now, and line number 3, they.
Young people.
No, read it again, read the sentence. One of you answered,
Politicians.
Politicians. Yaqub did that, thank you. Yes, politicians. Now, them, what does it refer to?
Young people.
Okay, so them refers to young people above here. حطوا دوائر بس على القطعة على الكتاب. Them refers to young people, they refers to politicians, and this refers to the number of people who don't vote has been falling. Now, the second paragraph, no pronouns. In the last paragraph, sorry, we have it here. What does it refer to?
lowering
Man-
the voting age.
Yeah, it's a problem. What's the problem? Not many people vote.
Many young people don't vote.
Thank you. Not many people vote. Not many young people vote. Now, in the next paragraph here, the last line, it. What does it refer to?
The report.
The report. So circle that, please. It refers to the report. حطوا دوائر عليهن الأربع خمس ضمائر اللي أخذناهم. We are almost finished.
يعطيك العافية أستاذ.
الله يعافيك.
يعطيك العافية.
Thank you very much. Just screenshot. صوروا الشاشة. Thank you very much. Screenshot and let's leave.